Hey, everybody out there, telling you about how to train for physique development, male or female. One of the key principles, tenets of my innervation training system, my innervation training methodology, one of the number one principles, train the muscle, not the movement. In here in my Abel approach, second edition, talk all about that methodology. What does that mean? Train the muscle, not the movement. Let's take a couple of examples, for instance. The bench press and the squat. How many people out there, when they're doing the bench press, are you doing the bench press or are you trying to train chest? When you do squat, are you doing squats or are you trying to train your legs? Because the mindset going into those is going to affect how you do and implement these movements. I talk to people all the time and ask them when they're doing bench press why they're doing it. They can't answer me. So if you're trying to bench press for the sake of bench press, then you realize that that's going to be all about using as many muscles as you can through as short a range of motion as you can in order to lift as much weight as you can for the lift. That's fine if you're a power lifter, but if you're trying to target chest training, then that's not a very efficient way to go about doing the bench press. The more effective way to train the muscle, not the movement, in that way would be to use dumbbells instead and put your feet up on the end of the bench. That's just one example. Doing the squat. Ask people, train the muscle, not the movement. How are you going to do squats? Are you out to see how much weight you can lift? Are you going to do quarter squats, half squats? Are you going to spread your legs further apart so you can lift more weight? That's all about training the lift, not the movement. You want to, or not the muscle. You want to train the muscle, not the movement. If you're doing all those things, then you're training the movement and not the muscle. And that may be okay to put more weight on the bar, but you're not going to get an effective overload on the muscle. To do the squat properly, you want the barbell really high on your back, and you want more of a straight line coming up and down, more than an angled line going up and down with the bar low on your back. That's all to use leverage to see how much weight you can lift. And even the late Dr. Squat, Fred Hatfield, Dr. Squat, named for a reason, he was one of the first ones to say in a powerlifting squat, the legs are relatively inactive, meaning in terms of prime movers, innervation, whatever, the squat, when you're training the movement and not the muscle, is more or less about leverage advantages and lifting weights and execution. But if your goal is physique development, then you're squatting for an entirely different reason. So you're going to squat in an entirely different way. So one of the main tenets of innervation training, pointed out in my book, The Abel Approach on the Methodology of Training, is if you're seeking physique development, and who isn't, train the muscle, not the movement. And that means you acquire mind-muscle connection, which is really, really important. And you train, you realize that it's the muscles that work the weights, not the weights that work the muscles. Very, very important stuff. Very important and very different way of looking at it than what's common out there. So, number one principle of innervation training for physique development, male or female, learn to train the muscle, not the movement, and what that means. So stay tuned. I'll have a lot more for you in the future.